Welcome fellow folders to the next Fearless Flourish shaping secrets, and these videos are basically my thought process that I go through before I actually shape a model. And we will be using Shukikato's Asian elephant for this example. I think it's a really good example for a model to use. So of course this is the base of the model. I'll just have a quick show through. The annoying thing about being an origami YouTuber is I can't just finish models right away. This was actually collapsed about a few months ago. I'm just getting to make this video. I could have been finished months ago, but of course everything can be turned into a video. Everything can be made from profit. So basically, the idea for shaping a model like this for me is I'm going to look at an actual elephant, and you all know what one is, what it looks like, one of the largest earth mammals on the planet. Now, the thing about elephants is they are absolutely massive. They are so massive. Now, when I look at an actual elephant, the thing that I noticed first is the size of elephants. Of course, we've got the height. It's a big model from a big bit of paper, but size-wise, as in not flat, but really round, they're packing so much muscle and fat and strength. So I want to try and capture that by having everything as round as possible. So all the little pockets inside I can use cotton wool to puff out. I'll show you the African elephant in a second, because that's already everything that I'll explain in this video. I've done to the African elephant, which you have most likely already seen as I have posted that model everywhere. But I want to try and capture the size. To me, it's so important to capture that real thickness of a model. Most elephants, I think, don't capture that. I think it's quite important if you want to try and, if you're folding a realistic model, you want to try and make it as realistic as possible. Again, it's personal preference on how much detail you should add. Go crazy, puff out the eyes, but things like that I personally don't do. But the first thing that I want to try and capture is the thickness. They are really, really big. So I need to do that with cotton wool. So I know that. Second of all is dry shaping. If you don't know what that is basically shaping without using any sort of adhesive like glue, MC, a combination, anything that can be used to stick layers together. For example, I have just decided how much to fold this part behind. And once I'm happy with it, I will really crease it. So I've not glued anything here. Everything is still really loose. It can come undone. That's simple and easy. So I'm adding all the details that I possibly can before I add any glue. And when I do add glue, the glue will start to dry, it will start to thicken up, and it will allow me to refine those details. For instance, when I glue the inside layers of the ear, because the glue will be starting to dry, it will be a bit more stiffer. That will allow me to capture whatever type of curve that I want to put into the ear, whether it's like gentle pleats or just a general simple curve like that, for example. I mean, it will make it so much easier to shape than it is now, because right now it's soft, it's flimsy, there's no strength in the ear. I want to add strength, which that glue will really provide. It will make it much easier to shape. Now, once we have, before we capture that real roundness in the body, we also need to think about the weight of the model, because when we add cotton wool, I mean, I bought this years ago and I will never run out. Oh, that's perfect. So cotton wool, you should all know what this is. It's just extremely light. extremely fluffy, and I use it in a lot of models to pack inside layers. So once I have glued as much of it as I possibly can from the outside and inside, all layers, wherever I decide I need to glue, once all that's done, I will then look for pockets. For example, this one right here. We have a pocket here. If I don't glue this, then I can pack it with cotton wool, and that will instantly provide a nice roundness to the model. Now that part's round, I would do the same with all the other parts. I would do the same for inside the leg. So I would open up, and right here we have a pocket on that side and a pocket on this side. So if I just quickly do that. Again, I'm not going to shape this model in this video. You won't see the finished model in this video because it takes time to do. So if I do that, if you can notice, we already have started to achieve that nice roundness. It's exactly what I'm aiming to go for, which is just perfect for me. Now, if we were to dry shape, be happy with what we have done with the shaping, and then glue everything, and then pack it with cotton wool, that would be perfect, but you have just done something completely wrong. Now, because we are going to add so much cotton wool, guess what's going to happen? The model is going to get extremely heavy, and then if you shape it really nicely, and then a few days later you're wondering why your elephant's like that, because the amount of cotton wool that's been packed into the body is just going to press down on the legs, and then they're going to flip out like that. So if you shape this really nice on Monday, you display it wherever you display it, you wake up Tuesday morning and it's like that. That is why that's why it's happened. You've got so much cotton wool inside that's just made the model so heavy. The legs don't have enough strength and support to keep it up. So that tells me I need to add some strength in the legs. And how we do that, let's just move this out of the way. How we do that is add wire. Now this is what I always do. So we have 3 types of wire here. I only use one of this. In fact, I have 2 types actually. There's more, but they're only really suitable. This one. So I'll show this one first. This is the wire I use for literally every model. If I feel I need to add more strength to a part of a model, I will use this wire. I'm not sure on the gauge of the wire. The gauge is the thickness, but I would highly recommend to be as thin as possible, because you can always add 2 of them, you could add 4 of them, however much you want. I have wire in Iridian, I have wire in Origami, obviously thicker wire, and everywhere possible, every model nearly has wire in it to help provide strength and support the weight of the cotton wool. Now you can also use thicker wire. This is slightly thicker, but it's a lot more flimsy, it's a lot more soft, so it wouldn't really apply or appeal to me to add this type of wire, because I want to try and have a wire that is, first of all, really thin, and I'll tell you why exactly in a moment, and really strong. This doesn't have either of those, and it's round. Is that in focus? Let's see if I can get the edge of this in focus. Yeah, no, almost. Right there. Let's see if this works. Nah, I'll probably use my macro lens, but anyway, this is a circle wire. We don't want a circle. This is, first of all, much more stronger. Again, all these wires can be cut easily. Just any pair of scissors, and it's that easy. You need to just need to decide how much you want. I'll show you that in a second. Same with this softer wire. Again, when you're cutting wire, always hold the other end, because sometimes when you cut this part, this goes and flies off somewhere. So it's always good to just hold it to save you losing a bit that you might need. So this is the wire I always use. It's not round and it's really thin on this side and thinner on this side. So it comes in, oh, it's not in focus, but it comes in really handy for shaping, for using it in models. Also, you could use wire mesh. This is wire mesh. Yeah. Basically it comes in this. I used this in Michael LaFoss's Alligator, which I did not finish. I don't plan to anymore, I can't seem to get it right, but it's super useful. It's very easy to cut. And it is very soft. You can decide how much you want to do, flip it over, and then you can slot it in somewhere, and then it would just easily hold its shape. Now the wire, oh yeah, this is what I use to make a sort of skeleton for the Kota's Japanese spiny lobster. Because that top part of the lobster is nearly one layer thin, you can't just glue like normal a bunch of layers and then curve it, so I had to make a nice sort of rectangle shape that matched the exact shape of my lobster, and then slot it inside, glue it around it, and then curve it. So it comes in super handy. I can't remember where I got this wire. I will try and find it for you, link it below if possible, if I can find it. So let me just show you an example. So we're going to use the round wire for this example. Now, wait, yeah, let me just show you. So we have the leg of the elephant. If I were to put the round wire inside here and then glue all the layers, if I were to cut the leg and look at it from this angle, you'd have, wait, yeah, do it again. You'd have the paper and a slight bump. So that dot right there is the wire under the layer, under this top layer of paper. So that right here causes a bump, which then can be seen in the final model. So if I were to put a piece of wire in this top layer and then glue it all, I would have a bump, which is not recommended. It doesn't look good. So I'm going to show you a little trick to figure out where and the best place to put wire in a model. So first of all, when I look at this model, I'm thinking I need to add wire in here, and here, and here, and in here. So 4 different pieces of wire will be needed, X amount per one. I may use 3 or 4, it just depends. Now, when I look for somewhere to put a piece of wire, I have to note that it's best not to put the wire near the top layer. So best to not put it anywhere at the top of this layer. I'll use this for example, because if I put it there and then glue it all, I will just see a bump and it won't really look that good. So if I open up, I'm seeing other layers. Potentially I could put one inside here, because this goes to the bottom of the leg all the way up to the neck. So that is somewhere I could put the wire. Then I have layers on the other side. I could possibly put it inside here and then fold it over. so it won't be seen. That is another possibility. But a good little trick is, when you do decide where you want to put your wire, I will just use, in here for example, I'll use this layer for example. This actually might be a good place to put the wire. So normally I would put the wire in, and then I would glue it and then fold over and over. So this time you could possibly see it from this side, even though you'll never see that side because it's hidden underneath. Just to say you could see it, you would see it pop out on this side. So a little trick is, you can either glue around the wire, so add glue here and here, and then stick over, so the part that isn't glued isn't compressed, so you won't see the imprint of the wire on the other side. Another little thing is, just say I want to put the wire inside this pocket right here. So if I put it inside, a good little thing is to glue only the layer where you put the wire separately to itself and not to the layers around it. So what that means is, I'm going to glue all of this together. I'm going to glue it like that, I'm going to peg it, and then I'm just going to let it dry. So when I do that, for example, you can see the imprint already. I've not even glued it, so you can see that. So I'm not bothered about seeing that. I know this part won't get seen. So once I've glued it and pegged it, I will then not glue this side or this side. I will glue these parts together, but I won't glue these parts, because if I glue these parts, then this wire imprint will most likely push up the layers and get shown here. Whereas if I only glue this part, it will only get shown here and here. And then if I don't glue these two layers together, they won't get seen, so this part will be loose. And the chances of you seeing that here will be slim to none. So it's a really useful trick to only glue the layers that are attached to the wire and not around it. If that makes sense, I tried to explain it there. But if you get the idea, great. It's a really good trick, especially having the wire where you want it. Sometimes you don't have a lot of layers. So let me just draw another example. Right, let's just say So let's just say you only have 4 layers. And I'm going to put the wire in this one. Okay, and then I'm just going to glue here. And then I'm just going to peg this part. So I'm just going to peg that. And then once that's dry, I'm not going to glue anywhere here or here. So this section isn't attached to this one, which this one gets seen just so you're looking at it from that direction. You won't see the imprint, which will be here and here. Pardon me. So that way I can then, if I wanted, add a nice curve here. The imprint won't push up, so you really won't see the imprint of the wire if I've not glued this section to this one. So it's a really handy trick if you only have like 2 layers of paper that you need wire, so it comes in really handy. Hopefully you got that nice. Now, let's see. So I basically covered everything. Now once you're happy with your dry shaping, once you have found out a place to put the wire, what I would then do is add the wire first. So I would add all the wire that I possibly need in this model, maybe a bunch of pieces, maybe only a few. So when I look at this, I see that the whole leg is here, so I want to attach a wire to the whole part. So if I only add some here, then the wire, the weight will bend at this point. So this is an important part to have wire. For example, when we look at an arm, it's going to be a really badly drawn arm. We have the elbow, like that. So if I, just say I was holding something heavy, and I only add wire here. Now there's nothing stopping this arm from just falling down. So there's nothing stopping this arm from falling down from holding something heavy. Whereas if I add wire all the way up and into the shoulder, so now we have a lot more resistance needed to pull that arm down. Because it's all the way up in the shoulder, this isn't going to come down. There's going to be no chance of that happening. Whereas if I only left it here, there's no support to the elbow to keep the arm up. For example, if I just put wire like right there, and then I have the body full of cotton wool, then there's nothing stopping this from going like that. See, the end's here, there's nothing stopping it from, I could put 5 bits of wire like this, just this size in here, and it's still going to do that. Whereas if I have, just say these are the right size, if I have like 6 bits, and then there's a lot more resistance, and this part will be glued to that part, so it's basically attached to the body. The elbow is right here, and then we have this wire going all the way down, and then the hand, and then it won't bend, so I can add as much cotton wool as I want, and there will be zero resistance. Now there will be complete resistance to it collapsing like that. And then I would do the exact same on the other 3 legs. Now once I'm happy with that, I would just start to go about gluing all the layers that I feel that I need to glue to get the sort of base that I want, the finished model that I would like. And then once I'm happy with that, I would basically have a model that looked like this, but is extremely flat, has all the detail, but it's extremely flat. But I have 0 volume, so it's as thin as a piece of paper. I want to capture volume. Elephants are massive, let's capture that in this model. So once I have like the pocket, these parts will be glued and then curved, etc. I would open it up, and then I would just start filling it with cotton wool. So if I hold it here, and then I put my hand in, see if you look at it from the top, it's already rounder already. It's so much better. And then I would just go about looking for places that I can put cotton wool in, like in here, all the way up inside the leg. Every single nook and cranny will get cotton wool, and the head as well. The head can open up. You can really puff out this head, get it really nice and round. And that is basically what I would do, and then after that I would have the finished model. So let me show you the African elephant. You've probably already seen it, but this is just after the whole process. Now if it looks blue, the paper, it is not blue, it's just weird camera settings. But we have, let me think, got more. to me, this is perfection. I have acquired that roundness, and the head and the body, everything is nice and round, and the legs. It really helps with the shaping as well. And if you look nice and closely, like the head is full of cotton wool. Of course, I've found all the nooks and crannies in the head. I filled that with cotton wool, and then once I've done that, I have filled the extra space in there with cotton wool. Same with the body. It's full of cotton wool. I don't know how well you can see this. But every nook and cranny under here, same on this side and there, is full of cotton wool. And then we have the wires, lots of wire inside the legs. That's the only place I really added wire. Yeah, just to help support the model, to help keep it standing. And that is basically it. So that is my thought process on how I go about shaping a model. I hope you learned from this video. If you do, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you all for watching. Now I need to go make this mosquito paper for GSM. It's crazy.